Zach Sterniolo, NASCAR.com. Kyle, obviously the high line here is talked about every time we come here. Why is it so important to be able to run the wall well here?
I don't know. I mean, for me, it is. It's important. It seems to be how I've figured out how to go fast here, but you got to be comfortable against the wall, and I know there's a lot of drivers that aren't that comfortable against it. So that gives guys like myself and Reddick, an advantage when we come here. So yeah, I don't know. It's just it seems like with the next gen car, it's a little bit easier to run, to pack air against the wall. So. Yeah, it was a big advantage last year on the long run, and hopefully we've gotten our car better on the short run, but still really good on the long run like we were last year.
How has it translated to speed, just being able to carry that speed up top?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think just it's obviously a longer way around, but you can get to the gas so early. As long as you've entered high enough, you can get to the gas early and just build that momentum, and the lap time just compounds from there. So, I know last year there was points of the race on very long run where we'd be like 3/4 of a second faster, and it's just from being able to enter with a lot of speed and then carry a lot of speed on exit.
Go up here to Jordan, and then Bob.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. What is it like being a driver coming to a race where you want to win, obviously, but your playoff, you're already set for Phoenix? Like, what is the mindset for you guys, and how does that feel when you know everyone else you're competing against has all this pressure?
I don't know. I mean, obviously the pressure is probably a lot less than what other drivers are feeling, but I feel like I want to win just as bad as everybody else does too. So, I'm not treating this weekend as or these next two as they don't matter. So yeah, I mean, I think they matter just as much to me as everybody, but it's nice not having to think about the points or feel the pressure all week, because I mean, as the rounds go on, you definitely feel more pressure. At least in my I've only been in the round of 8 3 times, and 2 of them I won the first race, so I don't really remember honestly what the pressure is like, but I know what it's like in the other rounds, and I know what I felt like at the Roval. So I can only imagine that as each race moves on, you feel more pressure, and that's not a fun feeling.
Come up here to Bob.
Bob Parker, Fox Sports. I have two. The first is, how much of this week was spent on Homestead, and how much was spent on Phoenix?
0 for me, 0 on Phoenix, all Homestead. But yeah, I mean, obviously your mind thinks about Phoenix a little bit, but I haven't watched any film. I haven't looked at any data or anything like that. So I love this weekend. I love Homestead, and just trying to watch as much video of this place as I could to get my mind ready to run the wall.
And what do you remember that you did well a couple of years ago at Phoenix to win the title that you hope to repeat in a few weeks?
Well, we started off the weekend by getting the pole. That was huge to get the number 1 pit stall. And then in the race, at different points we had a good car, and at other points we weren't. I felt like at certain points of the race, all 4 of us had the best car, and not that we had the best car at the end of the race, but our pit crew did a really good job, and in that number 1 pit stall, paid off to be important. So yeah, and going back, obviously I know how important that pit stall is, so you put a big emphasis on qualifying. We had a weekend similar to 2021 earlier this year in the spring, getting the pole, and then just didn't execute the last restart right. So looking at those sort of little mistakes that we had in the spring, and then also just trying to execute like we did in 2021, I think is where my mind's at on what we need to do to win the championship. And 2, I mean, you need a fast car, which I know, or I hope that we will, and you'll have a good weekend.
Come up here to Greg.
Hey Kyle, Greg Engel, Cupscene.com. You normally on your schedule, you're a busy dude. You're going this race, that race, Tuesday here, Wednesday there. From what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, you've kind of curtailed that now that the championship's getting closer. Is it more pressure not to be doing all that stuff because you get in a groove and stuff, or is there a sense of FOMO or anything, or is it just business as usual?
I mean, I would be racing if there was races to run. So it's not that I cut it back on, because I want to focus on this. It's more that there's no more midweek racing left. I'm not going to race in Texas last night and then come to Homestead and be in the media center at 8 a.m. the next day. So, I mean, I just can't race. I still had a busy week. I tested the late model on Monday. And then, we've been in Oklahoma Wednesday and Thursday and flew here yesterday. Owen's there racing. So I think next week's fairly calm for me. And then it's Phoenix. So, and then my racing picks back up after that. So, I mean, it's not that I am cutting back because I need to. I'm cutting back because I don't have the opportunity to go race.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I don't know if this is a fair assessment or not. So, in the next gen era of all the ovals, is this the track where the driver can do the most or control the most compared to, because just the ability to run the high line, does that, or are there other tracks where the driver can make that much of a difference?
I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. I won this race last year, so I want to say it's all driver, but I don't know. I think for whatever reason, it didn't seem like people could run the wall quite as good as I could last year. So we were able to have a big advantage on the long run. But I don't know. I mean, I still think it's a little harder to pass probably than what the old car would have been potentially. I don't know. I mean, I spent all the race in the lead last year, but it just, when I caught like traffic and stuff, it looked like there was like big groups of people, like it was tough to pass. So, I don't know. Hopefully our car's good again and we can, be up front the whole race and you have good pit stops, good restarts, stuff like that. But, I mean, I think regardless, I do think Homestead's probably a track where you're the driver. Probably means a little bit more than somewhere else.
And then can you refresh my memory of how you figured out that the high line was going to work so well for you here? Like, is that just purely from, hey, like works in dirt, let me try this? Or like is something else? Did something build up to that to make you discover that?
Well, I remember when I ran the race, the truck race here in 2012. That was my first time here, and we had a really good race and led some of it. I got to battle with Kyle Busch for a little while, and we were running. I was running fairly high, and then he passed me and like stuck his hand out the window and told me to get higher. So I just started running as high as I could, or at least at a point in the corner. I would get really close to the wall, and then once you do that a few times, you can feel the effect that the right side of the car has against the wall. So then over time, you just start pushing it and entering higher, and you start getting that wall at an earlier point in the corner, and eventually you just end up running right next to the wall the whole lap. So I watched a little bit of my first Xfinity race I ran here in 2013 last night, and just seeing the difference of how I ran back then. And even back then, I cheated the entry some and would slide up to the wall. And then I just think as years go on, you just, like I said, you just get more comfortable entering higher. And then obviously, they're reading lap times off to you, and you can feel it too. But when you read a lap time off that's 0.2 better than the lap before, you know that it was faster. So then, you just keep pushing it, and obviously, I've hit the wall here a lot, but to get comfortable, you have to make those mistakes. You sure he was telling you to get higher? Yeah, no, he wasn't flipping me off. I know that, but I don't know. He did that. He actually, so maybe he wasn't saying that back then, but he did that again somewhere this year. He passed me and like stuck his hand out and was doing that. I asked him later, I was like, what were you telling me? Like, I was already running the top. And he said, no, that was me telling you I'm going to run the bottom, and you just, I'm going to leave you laying up top for some fresh air. So maybe that's what he was telling me back then, but I took it as, I needed to run higher. Like, I was this young rookie. I mean, it was only my 4th ever truck race at the time. So I took it as, I needed to get higher. So I just started running higher and passed him back a few laps later, and we've been really good here ever since.
Good, go ahead.
Dave Moody from MRN and SiriusXM. You mentioned it. You seem to have an ability at the extreme outside that not everybody has. Reddick's kind of the same way. Does that relate at all to all the years that the two of you have spent banging cushions and sprint cars and midgets over the years?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think, coming from the background that we have, it definitely helps. I think Homestead to me reminds me a lot of Eldora. The way both ends are, the way you kind of cup into turn one, 3 and 4 is a little more, seems a little flatter and all that, but you still run against the wall. It just feels similar to me. And then, yeah, I mean, that feel that you get of packing the air against the wall kind of feels like you're running a soft cushion to me at a dirt track. So, yeah, I think that's why, dirt guys kind of excel here. I can't think of any pavement guy or pavement background driver that is really comfortable against the wall. But, I mean, maybe Truex. Truex is really good. Denny's good on occasion running the wall. But, yeah, Reddick and myself, we seem to be really, really comfortable up there.
Okay, we'll go back here to Claire.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. So fans are enamored with you running the wall, and it's really interesting to hear you talk about it. Cole Custer was saying yesterday they were having a hard time seeing and couldn't even see the wall while they were trying to get up close to it, and that could figure into the end of the Xfinity race. And I was asking him about, because some drivers say you can actually hear the sound. Do you go off the sound? Are you able to do that when you're running the wall if you can't see as well? Have you been in a situation? I don't think for Cup here the sun will be a problem, but can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of use all your senses. You use sight, sound, feel, all of that. So, the sound gets really loud as you touch the wall, so you don't really want it to change too much. But yeah, the sun is really bad into one. So I'm guessing that's where he's talking about it's difficult. As it gets later into the day, it's kind of right in your eye line into turn one, and yeah, it needs to kind of get behind the sweets and stuff there into one for you to be able to see well enough again. But yeah, I think that's when I think I just more go off of the feel of the air pushing against your car and the wall. That's kind of where I get most of my feel from, I think, but I'm sure sound as well.
And at this stage, because, we give you a lot of credit for how good you are at that, how often in your mind are you completely sure that you're there at that line and not going over? And how many times would you take a chance when you're running the wall to get ever so much closer? Are you pretty much sure now, given all the things you've told us?
Well, I mean, you still get into the wall. Like last year, I mean, I ran next to the wall, the whole race basically, and you scuff it a little bit here and there. It's less of a penalty now to scrape the wall as it was with the old car. The bodies are so tough. So that allows you to be a little bit more aggressive with how close you get to the wall, I feel like. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, you race these cars every weekend, so you get a good feel for the proximity of yourself to the wall and others. So yeah, that helps. And then too, I mean, like I said, you can just feel it. You can feel the air really easily. So that is a good gauge for sure.
Okay, we'll come up here to Lee and then to Dustin.
Lee Spencer, catchfence.com. You finished second last year at Martinsville. Do you have any recollection of what was going on behind you with Ross Chastain and that? I mean, I'm sure you could hear the crowd, but what do you were so far ahead, but I mean, what is your recollection of that moment?
I was in second, but I remember they didn't obviously say anything on the radio or nothing like that, but I came off turn 4 and you look in the mirror to see, kind of how close the guy is behind you. And I remember just seeing something kind of going on, as somebody late, off of turn 4, there was a new car in my mirror. So that's kind of all I really remember from that. And then you get to see the replay and all that. So yeah, that was crazy for sure. And I'm sure we'll see the highlight of it a million more times as we lead into Martinsville. But yeah, that was definitely wild.
Okay, come over here, Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. As Owen gets older, does he have a little bit more of a understanding and appreciation of what Dad's doing in the sense of going for another championship? I'm sure there was a lot of excitement a couple years ago, but do you notice then how he's viewing what you're doing right now a little differently as he's gotten older and understanding things?
I don't know. I mean, that would be a good question, I think, for him. He'd get nervous, really, if you were asking him a question, I'm sure. But I don't know. I mean, I think he understands, what we did last week and what that means for a few weeks from now. But I don't know if he thinks it's like cool. I don't know if he I don't know what he thinks about it. But I know he knows that we get to race for another championship and all that. And even Audrey, I think, she was 3, and she's, sees the pictures of her sitting in the trophy and all that. Like, even she understands, I think, what that race means a little bit, but maybe not quite to the magnitude that, all of us think that race is, or what a championship really, means to somebody. But, yeah, I mean, I think as he gets older, as, all my children get older, they'll understand a little bit more. But I think when a kid's that young, like, Dad's not really that cool yet. So I think as they get older, they can really appreciate even more.
So does that mean with Owens Racing, if you give advice and then somebody else gives the same advice, he's more likely to listen to the other person?
Oh, yeah, he doesn't listen to me at all. I don't even talk to him anymore at this point at the races. He usually does better the less I talk to him. So, yeah, I don't really talk to him a whole lot at the races. I kind of just stay out of everything.
And one other thing, you were talking to Bob's question earlier about the things that you learned did well at Phoenix. Are there things, even with the success of 2021, that you'll look to go back and change this time around to it works better in your schedule, do something better, and that from that learning experience?
No, I mean, I feel like the whole week was a great experience. Last time, it's your first opportunity at championship, so you want, there's a lot of friends and family coming and all that, and that was really special to me, and basically the same group of people are already planning on coming, this trip. So, yeah, I mean, hang out with them and, grab dinner and all that. I mean, trying to treat it as a fairly normal week and not trying to distance myself from my friends and family. So, yeah, I mean, I plan on doing basically the same stuff I did last time. So, yeah, I mean, I'm curious how media week will be different, stuff like that, that I think will be a little bit different, where that location is, stuff like that around the city. But yeah, my friends and family are really important to me. So it was awesome that they were there last time and we got to celebrate afterwards. And, I'm happy that they're coming back, and, hopefully we get to celebrate again later in the night.
Okay, we'll come up here to Zach and then Jordan.
Going back to that championship race in 21, a lot of I think 4 of the 5 pit crew members on your team today were pitting your car back then. To see them kind of be able to continue to be an elite crew despite the change from the 5 lugs to the single lug, how important has that been to the success of this 5 team? And is there any kind of bond that you have with those guys, being that they've been on your car for so long now?
Yeah, I mean, and they've been in the sport for a long time, even before I got in the sport. So I'm not sure how many championships a few of them have, but it's got to be a lot, because they were on Jimmy's team as well. But yeah, no, this year for sure they've done a great job. 2021 they were the best pit crew all season. This year they've been in the top 2 or 3 all season. Big improvement from where they were at last year. I think there was a lot to be learned with the new style pit stops last year, and just took them a little bit of time. But all season they've been really strong. So all of Hendrick Motorsports really has been really strong on pit road. So yes, they've been important to every one of our wins this year. And to win a Cup Series race, it just takes your whole team for sure. And like last week we gained 2 spots on pit road and got control of the race for the last run, and that was it. And Richmond, Darlington, they're a part of every win in a big way. So, yeah, I hope that we can continue that. I think what I like the most about them is they're the best when it matters, at the end of the race. So that's really important to win these races.
Go over here to Jordan, and then we'll wrap with one question in the back.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. Do you have a favorite, two-part, do you have a favorite Kevin Harvick story on the track? Like encounter or exchange or anything? Specific,
track?
On the track, yeah.
I don't know. I've just really enjoyed racing with him. He's such a tough racer, and I feel like he can do a lot more with his race car than most drivers can. So I've had some great battles with him. I think he's only been mad at me like one time, so that's pretty good, I feel like. So and he probably doesn't even remember when he was mad. So
What was he mad about?
it was Phoenix, I don't know, a long time ago, and he was battling to make it into the championship 4, and there was a restart, and I think Joey ended up winning the race, but he was second row, I was third row inside, and I didn't even like get in there, but I just kind of showed my nose, and he was mad about that and came down afterwards. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I explained to myself that he wasn't going to win anyways, and he was fine with it afterwards. I was like, whoa, that went smoother than I thought it was going to. He was walking over. I was pretty scared. So, yeah, he's just an intense guy, and I've made it a point this year to not piss him off because he's probably in his 0 fucks given tour. So, didn't want to be on the receiving end of anything.
And then off the track, favorite story with Kevin?
Off the track, I just really appreciate and pay attention to how great of a father he is. How dedicated he is to Keelan for sure, but even his daughter Piper, you can tell that she's a daddy's girl, and Audrey is a daddy's girl, or daddy's girl as well. So, watching him balance all that, and I feel like his kids are very well behaved.